G'day guys, how you going? Today we talk about the present perfect in a simple way. What's the present perfect in a simple way? It's basically an action that happened in the past, and the perfect basically means the past of something. So if the present perfect is the past of the present, and it's a past action that has some relevance in the present. Yeah, so let's say, and we talk about our experiences in life. So let's say I've had an experience of visiting a different country. So I can say, I have already visited Japan. Yes, I have visited Japan before. Yes, I have been to China before. Yeah, so I'm describing some experience that I had in the past, and I don't need, well, I don't actually say the time. Yes, because the time is really unimportant. What is really relevant here is the experience, not the time. Yes, so that's the present perfect in a simple way. Now, we could compare it with the simple past, right? The simple past would sound something like, I visited Japan 2 years ago. So I'm giving you a specific date. Or I could also say I visited, or I was, as in the verb to be, I have been to China before. I can say I was in China last week. So I'm giving you a specific time. So that basically means I'm giving you some action for the present perfect that happened in the past, but of course, it has relevance to the present moment about regarding my experience, not not the time it happened. But if the time is really important, and the action, well, may be relevant, but it's less relevant than the time, than the action itself. Yes, because the action is already finished. Yes, and well, you just want to share like when this happened for some reason. Yes, it depends on the dialogue you are having with the person. Then you use the simple past. And what's the main difference? The simple past, for affirmative sentences, we do not use auxiliary verb. So we just say, I visited Japan 2 years ago, right? But for the present perfect, then we have to use the auxiliary verb, have. I have visited Japan before. Before is sometime in the past, but it's not really specific, right? So, but if we use and have, again, have is an auxiliary verb, not a verb. It's just there to help the verb be conjugated to the right form, which is the present perfect. Now, let's talk about the simple past in the negative form, and that is, I mean, that is. Then we use the auxiliary verb. What's the auxiliary verb? Did, but it's negative, so we say did not. I did not visit it. I did not go to Japan last year. So this did not happen last year. I give you the specific time. But if I use it, if I say that in the present perfect, because again, the experience is more relevant than the time itself, but an experience that never really happened, I just say, I have never been to Japan. It didn't happen, right? Or if it's something that I want to experience, I can say, I haven't been to Japan yet. I haven't been to Japan yet, right? So that's an experience that I did not have, or that I have not had, but I'm willing to do that. I really want to go to this place and visit that, all right? That's why we also use the yet expression at the end of my negative sentence. I have never been to Japan. I just deny, or I just say that I did not have this experience, right? And if I want to ask a question, simply use again the have, negative, haven't, simple past, did, didn't. And if I want to ask a question, I put did in the beginning of my sentence and I say, did you go to Japan 3 years ago? Did you go to Japan 3 years ago? So I'm giving you that experience. Yes, I'm asking you about that experience, but I'm asking you if this experience specifically happened 3 years ago. All right. So it's really, the time is really important because of some reason. Again, I don't know, it could be that 3 years ago there was a special event in Japan, or 3 years ago I was in Japan and I want to know if you were there. Okay, so that's basically the explanation to why you should put time in there. Now, if I just want to ask you about the experience, I don't really care about when you visited a specific place. I just say present perfect. Have you, and I put have, just like we did with did, I put have in the beginning of the sentence. Have you visited Japan before? Have you been to Japan before? Have you ever been to Japan one day in your life? Okay, so I'm asking you if this experience happened. I'm not asking when exactly because that's not important. What's relevant is, have you had this experience? Have you experienced this before? Okay. Well, that's basically it. That's the difference between the present perfect and the simple past. That's the present perfect in a simple way. Of course, we do have more uses for the present perfect. So let me know what you think. Yes, comment below. Maybe write some sentences in the present perfect and I can have a look at your sentences in the comments below. And I will, of course, create more videos with all the uses of the present perfect, because the present perfect and as well as the simple past have the different uses. Okay, so they do have different uses and I will share with you here, and also the differences with the verbs, right? Because I say I was in China 2 years ago and I have been to China. So why we say was and why do we say been? Okay, because in English we conjugate verbs in 3 different forms, in 3 different ways, but that could be a conversation, of course, for another video. Now, I hope you guys liked it. I hope that cleared your doubts. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next video with another explanation. Let me know in the comments below if you want to ask any specific question about anything in English. Cheers.